What's going on, and welcome back to the Blake Billman Mask channel. And today we have a very different video than what we normally do on this channel. We don't have an unboxing, but today we are going to dive into the vast history of all of Kane's masks. Now, I've noticed that on the internet there is not a definitive list of all of Kane's masks, and all these different websites and publications that try to say that this is the definitive every look of Kane category article out there. It's never all of Kane's masks. It's usually not even half of his masks. I figured I'd go ahead and make this video, that way we have a video out there that actually has all of Kane's masks in chronological order, and for the most part of time frames of when to when he wore this mask. Now, I can't take all the credit for this because a friend of mine over at Kane History and More on Instagram thoroughly helped me out with this video, sent me all the pictures in chronological order. That way I would make sure to get them as best as I could in order. And if you haven't checked out his Instagram page and you're a big Kane fan, I highly recommend it because he posts content literally daily up there, and it's always really cool stuff, whether it be him painting Kane figures or posting collages of every mask together, or for different attires, that you name it. All sorts of Kane stuff on his channel every day, and I highly recommend you check out his content because it's one of the best Kane pages out there, if not the best Kane page out there. But let's go ahead and dive into every Kane mask ever. Now, what we have here is the debut 1997 Kane, and you can tell it's the debut mask because it has that big giant lip on the side, and Kane would wear this mask for most of 1997, as you can see here with this weathered version of it, before he'd get another mask in late of 97. Which brings us to late 1997, where Kane would don his second mask, and as you can see, the forehead wrinkles have slightly altered a little bit. That black line on the right side of Kane's mask has changed slightly, along with that bump no longer being there on the left side of his face, that they've now smoothed that part out and has the mask fitting a little bit better to Kane's face than before. Here's Kane's second mask, looking a little bit weathered at this point, and a little fun fact about this mask: this is actually the mask that Kane wore first in the company before he debuted on TV. He actually wore this mask at a house show before he debuted. And if you've ever seen those old pictures of Kane wearing like that really silly looking cape, well, this is the mask that Kane was actually wearing when he made that brief house show appearance before his actual debut. Now, this is Kane's third mask, and as you can tell, the nose has changed a little bit and the mouth has been changed completely, along with some of the placement of the black lines across the mask, along with getting a little bit different forehead wrinkles, which is pretty much a consistent theme across these Kane masks changing. Here's the weathered version of this particular mask, and the things I was saying before you can definitely see much better in this particular photo. And you can see why this particular mask is called the lizard mask, because it definitely does kind of resemble a lizard a little bit for Kane's 1998 mask. We've now arrived in 1999, and this would be Kane's fourth mask he'd wear in the company. And he wouldn't wear this mask for too long before going to his second 1999 mask. And so there's not really too many shots of this thing being weathered, so we only have the clean shot for this one. But like I said, he didn't wear this for very long before going to his second 1999 mask. This is Kane's second 1999 mask, and as you can see, the shape of the mask from the mouth all the way up has completely changed. Those forehead wrinkles / lines have now making more of a V shape than they were before. And some of the line work on the mask for the black lines has completely changed a little bit, giving the mask a completely different feel for Kane for truly the first time. Here we have Kane's fifth mask, weathered, and I just think that this mask looks really awesome while it's being weathered here, and it truly shows how long Kane wore this for most of 1999. And when Kane would get these things weathered, I just think that the masks just look that much better when they get weathered and dirty and grimy like they would. Kane's third mask of 1999 is known in the hobby as the 99 inverted Kane. And as you can see, the entire mask has been flipped upside down with the color scheme being inverted. And me personally, this is my all-time favorite Kane look, from the mask all the way to the outfit as well. Just gave Kane a much needed, I think, change, and I think a more menacing look overall. You can see in 1999, this mask got pretty heavily weathered over the course of use, which kind of surprises me because I seem to remember Kane mostly using this particular variant for his SmackDown appearances. and some pay-per-views here or there. But I firmly believe that this particular mask set the template for a lot of Kane's future masks going forward from here on out. This is Kane's 7th mask he'd wear in the company, and this is the Summerslam 2000 mask, a mask that Kane would only wear one time in this particular match against The Undertaker. Unfortunately, we don't have very many good photos of this mask, and this is one of the very few good photos that we do have of the mask. We have Kane all bloodied up, and you can see why this was a one-time use mask. Over the course of the match with The Undertaker ripped this mask in half, and later on, eventually during the match, he would actually rip off the mask and be the first time we'd ever see Kane maskless in the WWE under the moniker of Kane. Here we have the Survivor Series 2000 mask, another very rarely used mask by Kane. This mask was only used for Survivor Series, and I know for a fact one house show later that week, and I heard the Raw after Survivor Series, but I can't be positive on that. And this mask is actually in a fellow collector's hands, and I'm hoping to one day get my hand on this mask because this is one of my all-time favorite Kane looks. And it's a shame that we only got the 2, maybe 3 appearances of this mask. This particular mask is known in the hobby as the K2K mask, and would be one of the first masks that Kane would wear in 2001. Now this particular mask reminds me a lot of the Survivor Series 2000 mask, and an overall really cool design, and a good look for Kane overall in my opinion. Now, there seems to be some misconception here with this particular mask. Some people seem to think that this is an entirely different mask altogether, but as me and Jaden have discussed pretty extensively, we firmly believe that this is the K2K mask, and they just didn't color this picture properly, but we both firmly believe that this is the K2K mask. We've officially hit the double-digit mark here with Kane's 10th mask, also known as the Hardcore title mask, because Kane would debut this mask at WrestleMania 17, in which he would defeat Big Show and Raven to win the Hardcore Championship. And overall, I think this is one of my least favorite Kane looks, because I just don't think the mask was really all that original, and I just kind of felt like they wanted to have another Kane mask debut at WrestleMania just because it was a WrestleMania event. Of course, Kane would go on to continue wearing this mask post-WrestleMania for a little bit before he would debut another mask in 2001. Here we have the Chef Boyardee mask, and yep, you guessed it, Kane wore this for a Chef Boyardee commercial in 2001. And of course, he would continue to wear this mask post that commercial, as this would end up being his Invasion era mask. And of course, the Invasion era was one of the biggest botches in the company history. So many dream matches that could have happened, but unfortunately, like anything, like everything like WWE's done since then has dropped the ball. An overall better look of this Chef Boyardee mask. And as you can see, it definitely seems like they tried to kind of do like a hybrid between Kane's debut style masks and some of the masks that he'd been going with here lately. And overall, like I said, I'm not that big of a fan of this mask either. I definitely want to add one of these replicas to my collection for the sake of having a collector's piece, but overall, not that great of a mask in my opinion. Here we have the debut of the 2002 half mask, and this would be the last mask that Kane would wear before he'd go unmasked in 2003. Overall, I actually think this is one of the most underrated Kane masks out there. I know a lot of Kane fans don't seem to care a whole lot for this mask, but to me, I think it has always been one of Kane's better looks, and I think it's a truly underrated mask. Here we have Kane's half mask in 2003, and as you can see, this mask is pretty dirty at this point. It's pretty beat up. It's getting pretty close to when Kane would unmask himself in 2003. Of course, this would be the last style of mask we would see Kane wear for a very long time in the WWE, almost nearly a decade or so. Now, this is not Kane. This is the Imposter Kane that debuted in 2006 during an Intercontinental title match between Kane and Shelton Benjamin. Now, clearly, this mask is a very terribly done version of Kane's debut mask, and that wig is even awful too to boot. Here's the second mask that would be worn by the Imposter Kane in 2006. Now, obviously, this is a slightly better version of what they were trying to go for with the debut Kane. It's still not a very good replica, and at least they went ahead and they fixed the wig and made it actually look like Kane's hair from the 90s. So overall, this isn't a better look for the Imposter Kane, and overall, this was not a very good angle between Kane and Imposter Kane, and they threw it away after about a month after they had the Imposter Kane defeat Kane at Vengeance, and then the next night they just had Kane beat him up and throw him out of the parking lot and rip his mask off. We have Kane wearing the Imposter Kane mask from September 15th, 2008, when he was cutting a promo during his feud with Rey Mysterio about how he was brave enough to take his mask off, whereas Rey Mysterio was not. This would be the last time we would see Kane in a mask until he would return in 2011 with the new half mask. Fast forward to 2011, and for the first time since 2003, we would see Kane wearing a mask inside of a WWE ring. Now, Kane would wear this welter-style helmet on the way down to the ring during his entrances during 2011, and I'm still not sure where they thought they were going with this, but overall, this is still a better-looking mask than the mask that Kane was actually wearing for matches and going forward for the rest of his career. Now, here's the hideous and honestly very stupid mask that the welter-style helmet was hiding on the way down to the ring, and it still baffles me that Kane even agreed to having a mask that looked like this, especially considering all the awesome masks that he's worn over the years, and when he decides to come back masked in 2011, and we get this just hideous mask, and it just, to me, it just doesn't work. Here we have Kane's second Demon Kane mask, and basically it's the same exact mask, except this one is a latex mask compared to his previous Demon Kane and all of his masks before that being leather masks. It still doesn't help the mask out any because this mask is still just as lame as it was when it was leather or latex. And not to mention Kane going with the red eye paint underneath, I don't think really helps this mask out any either. Now Kane would continue to wear this mask for the rest of his career all the way up until present day 2021. And even with the current look, it just keeps getting worse and worse for Kane with the outfits he continues to wear. And it's definitely very disheartening to see because Kane is being my all-time favorite wrestler, and it's really sucks to see him go out wearing just honestly terrible outfits and a terrible mask. I'd like to apologize considering that I actually left out one of Kane's masks here. When I was going through and I was rewatching it, I noticed that I missed Kane's Big Brother mask, which is bad considering I actually have a replica of this in my collection. And overall, I think this is one of the best Kane masks that he ever had, especially considering he wore this between like 2001 and 2002. And overall, I think this was a really great look for Kane. And it definitely was a little bit different, but overall, I think it really worked for Kane, and it was just an overall really good mask. And there we have it. Every mask that Kane ever wore inside of a WWE ring. And I even think you have to admit that there was more masks on there than you thought would actually be. That's another reason why I wanted to make this video, is because Kane wore a lot more masks than people realize while he was wrestling for the WWE. And I just kind of thought that having a video that showed every one of his masks was honestly a really good idea. And nice to get a little bit more information out there, whether you be a diehard Kane fan or just a novice Kane fan that just thinks he looks cool. Once again, I'm about to give a big shout out to Jaden, who runs the Kane History and More Instagram page. And if you haven't seen his Instagram page, I highly recommend that you check it out, because if you're a Kane fan, you'll definitely love his page. He uploads daily, and there's always a lot of really cool content he's always posting over on his Instagram page. Jaden was a huge help in making this video. He is the one that sent me every picture that you guys saw in this video. And not to mention, he sent them to me in chronological order of when Kane wore these masks. But leave it up to me to still end up screwing it up and forgetting about the Big Brother mask and having to add that at the end there. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video, and this has been Blake Billman here at the Blake Billman Mask Channel, reminding you to strive to be Mask Elite.